Hey, what's up guys? In this video I am reviewing the Simgot EA1000, otherwise known as the Fermat in-ear monitor. Let's get it. What's cracking, audio fans? It's David here from Prime Audio Reviews. So there is the box for the EA1000, quite a nice looking box. There's a sneak preview of the graph on the back there. Now these are coming in, let's pull them right in straight away. Whoops, these are the IEMs. Now these are retailing at $219. And this is a single dynamic driver IEM, but it does have some nifty features. Namely, well, most importantly, in my opinion, the passive radiator that you can see right there. Interesting. We'll talk about that later on. Let's have a look at the build. And, well, first of all, they are absolutely gorgeous IEMs. They're really pretty. Similar form factor to some of the other Simgot IEMs of late, and that is a good thing. But, yeah, these ones are a step above. I think they look really, really good. And not only do the IEMs look good, the cable looks good too. Have a look at that. So you get this really nice cable. It looks stunning. It handles really nicely, and for the money, yeah, that is exactly what I would want to see for an IEM in this price range. Really nice. Now the EA1000 does have some other tricks up its sleeve, namely these tuning filters. So there are 3 sets of tuning filters, and as always you can slightly adjust the sound to your preferences using these. And like most of these kind of setups, the changes are only subtle, but hey, they are there, so you get a little bit of extra customization, which is always a good thing. You get a carrying case in the box as well, along with a pretty good selection of silicone ear tips. But let's get right into the sound, because that's what we are all about. So keep in mind, price $219, single dynamic driver. So the EA1000 comes to the table with a large soundstage and a fairly satisfying, but also a fairly tame bass. On the first listen, what you'll notice probably is the clarity, the speedy transients, and the shimmering crispy highs. It has a balanced sound signature with forward mids and a striking treble extension. Let's throw up the graph now. Starting with the bass, and the EA1000 has just a very subtle boost in the bass. It's almost neutral in quantity, but it is nice and agile. It's speedy and nimble, and the inclusion of that passive radiator there, that seems to work, because despite the quantity of the bass being fairly neutral, the bass does have a nice, deep, authoritative presence. It imparts a sort of notable depth and that authority to what might otherwise be perceived as a lighter bass rendition. So good speed, as I said, good layering as well, and it can deliver ample sub-bass rumble when the music calls for it. Nevertheless though, in genres like hip-hop and electronic music, there are moments where a touch more low-end power would be appreciated. So needless to say, these are not for bass heads. Even myself, sometimes I wanted just a little bit more grunt in the lows. But while the quality remains excellent, like I said, if you're a bass head or looking for something with a nice accentuated bass, you probably want to consider alternatives. Moving on to the mid-range, and the mid-range here embodies a blend of ethereal lightness and density at the same time. It's a transparent, nuanced mid-range, and it allows for an expansive and a spacious sound, and it unveils intricate details with finesse. Despite this airy quality in the mid-range though, the vocals take center stage, almost intimately drawing you into their world. So There's very good clarity and articulation in the mids, and the tonality is fairly accurate. It's vivid and engaging, and while its portrayal of vocals is captivating, male vocal depth could use a touch more richness, that is, for a more resonant and immersive experience. So I wouldn't mind just a little touch, maybe more richness in male vocals, but apart from that, the mid-range is pretty spot on. Nice note size, nice warmth, and overall pretty organic, natural sound. And now for the treble, and the treble stands out for its ethereal, crystalline quality. It imparts a profound impact on the overall sort of presentation. It serves as a linchpin, expanding the soundstage and revealing intricate details as well. It's quite precise in the treble, but what truly sets it apart is its adeptness at delivering musical nuances while maintaining a velvety smoothness. So it's a non-fatiguing treble. It doesn't have any sibilance or sharpness, but at the same time it is very light, airy, and quite precise as well. The treble extension is very good, and it just sort of floats off into the ether, and that extension is instrumental in providing clarity throughout the overall sound, and it captures the most subtle textural layers within the music as well. Cymbals have got this nice natural shimmering brilliance, and they introduce a layer of luminosity to the sound, and overall it's a really good treble. It's detailed, it's airy, and it is pretty it's got nice sharp transients but a natural decay. Alright, so into some technicalities, and I would say the soundstage is quite expansive, and that's due in part to that sort of neutral bass quantity and that forward sparkly treble. It kind of expands the soundstage, but despite that airy vibe, it's got good note density, and that keeps the sound grounded and full-bodied. And when it comes to imaging, these are pretty spot on. You can pinpoint where each instrument sits within this broad soundstage, making the music feel more realistic and engaging at the same time. And plus it separates instruments cleanly. In other words, it's got very good instrument separation, so you can hear each element of the music without them getting muddled together. Even in complex passages, it remains pretty solid. And of course, because it is a single dynamic driver, you know that it's a nice cohesive sound as well. So let's do a couple of quick comparisons, and I will start with the Moondrop Kato here. Now the Kato is also a single dynamic driver IEM. It's actually a little bit cheaper than the EA1000. The Kato retails for $189. It also has a very nice cable, kind of similar actually. At least in the way it feels and handles. And I'll throw up the graph of the Kato here so you can see just how close they are on the graph, and that is the reason why Kato has been on my best IEMs list basically ever since I reviewed it probably 2 years ago. So it sounds a lot like the EA1000, but it costs even less. But that's not the end of the comparison, because there are differences. Kato has slightly more sub-bass emphasis and a little less lift in the presence region, and the result of that is Kato has a subtly darker tone with a little less articulation in the vocals. Moreover, some instruments like strings and brass, for example, are a little less sonorous on the Kato than they are on the EA1000. I would say Kato has a little less treble extension and denser treble notes, which results in a slightly less expansive soundstage. And in terms of resolution and detail retrieval, I would say the EA1000 performs slightly better, but the Kato is still a good performer. Next up, we'll look at the Kiwi Ears Quintet. And this is exactly the same price. They're both $219. And it's got the Quintet's got 4 types of drivers in it. It's got a dynamic driver, 2 balanced armature drivers, a planar magnetic driver, and a piezoelectric bone conductor. So it's got a lot going on in there, but they are the same price, so I think it is a pretty solid comparison to have. The Quintet has more bass boost mostly in the sub-bass region, but then it also has significantly less mid-bass, and furthermore its lower mid-range is more recessed, which makes male vocals even leaner than they are in the EA1000. They're not overly lean on the EA1000. I don't know why I'm saying that. They just could use a touch more richness for the Simgot, but yeah, the quintet here is leaner male vocals, less note depth, and that leaner mid-range is offset somewhat by less upper mid-range lift on the quintet, but it still has a brighter overall tonality than the EA1000, despite that elevated sub-bass. And the quintet stage position is more neutral, meaning EA1000 stage is a little bit closer to the listener, so vocals are a bit less intimate on the quintet, but they are very articulate and detailed. In terms of resolution, I'd say the quintet is slightly ahead, but the EA1000 has a more natural tone due to that warmer lower mid-range. So all three of these IEMs are excellent. The Kato is very enticing because of that lower price point. However, I think if you're willing to spend that bit more, the EA1000 or the Fermat does come out slightly ahead. So to sum up, for $219, this is an excellent IEM. It's one of the best in this price range. Very hard to beat. Solid build quality, nice and comfortable, great accessories. You get those tuning filters, big soundstage, great clarity, for the most part satisfying enough bass. And yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there. So thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, give it the old thumbs up, Parfam audiophile style. And if you're new to the channel, or if you want to see more content like this in the future, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, I'll see you later.